What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for a review of the third studio album by Childish Gambino, aka Donald Glover, aka one of my favorite human beings because this dude just does it all. The new album is called Awaken, My Love, and it's the follow-up to the last official album that he released, Because the Internet, from 2013. If you'd like to see my review on that, it's linked in the description, or stick around towards the end of the video. There's going to be an annotation that you can click on screen to go to that and check it out. Long story short, I really loved the project. I thought even though it was longer, it got the job done in more ways than one. It showed off his rapping. It also showed off that he was very multifaceted, just like he is in real life. This dude does it all. Stand-up comedy. He was in a sketch comedy troupe, Mystery Team. Anyone else remember that on YouTube back in the day? That was actually my first exposure to him. Doing that, Comedy Central stand-ups, writing for 30 Rock, starring in the NBC show Community, which I thought he was fantastic on as Troy, and then just moving on to bigger and better things, releasing his debut album under the name Childish Gambino with Camp in 2011. Atlanta is his new project that he's focusing on right now. One of the best TV shows on right now. I think it's fantastic. It shows off drama, comedy, and he writes and stars in this thing for FX. So if you're not watching it, you're doing yourself a disservice. Go check it out. I've seen the first 5 episodes so far and I am hooked. The main things that you're going to hear people repeating over and over again with the new Childish Gambino album: oh, it's so different. Oh, this is so out of left field. And I thought that at first too, but then I thought about all of the things that Donald Glover does as a human being. I mean, for Christ's sake, he's starring in the upcoming Star Wars movie and apparently is being cast in Spider-Man as well. Balancing that out with like rapping, acting, writing, all of this other stuff, it's like, how does he have the time? Obviously, this dude has a ton of influences. On this new record, he's going for more of a funk, psychedelic, just a groove and a snappy, burning, slow-burning R&B feel all throughout, and it really gets the job done. It didn't click with me at first. I was listening through it the first 2 times, and I was thinking to myself, I don't care for this. What am I going to say to everyone whenever I review this? Am I going to get shit all over because I hate this? Or are people going to agree with me and be thinking, what the hell did this guy do? What was he thinking? But the more I process the album, the more I am drawn to it. I keep coming back to this thing over and over again, and it's really starting to sink in. No, I don't love every single song on it, and I don't necessarily think that this is his best project, but it's definitely his most ambitious, and I have to say, for the most part, it paid off for him. Let's look at Me and Your Mama, the lead-off single from this thing. I commented on it on Twitter. If you guys aren't following me over there, I do sometimes tweet out little track reviews in text form, occasionally videos and that sort of thing. It's at ARTV Reviews. It'll be linked in the description. Me and Your Mama is one that I thoroughly enjoyed. It starts off with this vocal thing that's kind of weird. It's manipulated, and you'll see that a few times throughout the record, and it's done in a very tasteful way. I like that. Before it shifts into a different groove, kind of this like burning rock feel, almost like a post-rock type thing. I love the guitar, so sultry on this. Just an absolute jam. Talking about me and your mama. That's kind of a recurring theme that we see all throughout. He's talking to his son, his newborn, that we didn't even know about until this record really started coming out. A lot of hype, stuff surrounding it. People started speculating, and here on the album it definitely confirms that. Tracks like Baby Boy and The Night Me and Your Mama Met obviously do reflect on that, as well as the closing track Stand Tall. But it really starts off with Me and Your Mama. This is one there he's just kind of talking about the relationship that they have. It's kind of laced with weed and lucid dreams and all of this other stuff that comes with the fuzz and the haze that they're in a lot of the time. And they're talking about how their relationship seemingly maybe only works whenever they're high and having fun, and then they fall on hard times in other places. It's kind of hard to decipher, and so are a lot of the songs on this record, but honestly, it's really, really entertaining. I love the guitar on this. I love the just switch up of the beat that we're going to see several times used on this record. I think it's done in a really cool fashion that actually works for Gambino. Me and Your Mama is one of the best tracks on this thing, but honestly, I think he outdoes himself on some of these moments here. I love Boogieman. It's got this kind of cool gospel stomp clap type feel that has a really funky bass line on it, really draws you in. You're going to be singing along every time the chorus rolls around, and I love the commentary on this track. He's talking about how black people in America are kind of seen as the boogeyman. If you're not familiar, the boogeyman Man is something that's used by like adults to scare their kids into maybe going to bed or just obeying them in general. I mean, I don't even think my parents did this to me, but I've definitely seen it used in movies and in cliched TV shows and that sort of thing. But here, he does it in a way that's not cliched at all. He makes himself and other people of color the Boogieman in this scenario, basically saying that people see them as the scary ones, even though our relations with cops are not the best. Obviously, we're seeing a lot of that in the media these days. A bunch of people are being shot for no reason and unarmed the majority of the time, which is just crazy. And he's basically saying here, even though the cops are the ones in power, they're the ones with the authority, we're apparently scared of black people because we're going to generalize all of them. And the commentary running throughout is really quite smart. It's a pretty upbeat track. I love the glockenspiel used all throughout this, and just the pianos, the bass. There's so many instruments and so much work. Ludwig Göransson, I hope I pronounced that right, his longtime collaborator that worked on his first 2 studio albums, is back again, and he really killed it on the production, not only on this track, but really all throughout, bringing out different sides of Gambino's personality. Here we have 11 songs, but we also have 11 different, I guess I should say 10, since Me and Your Mama is instrumental, but 10 different personalities in terms of the voice used from Gambino. He's really all over the place. I mean, if you look at Zombies, it's kind of like an overly dramatic, but at the same time, kind of cool and pleasant, throwing it back to the 70s in a big way, just like the majority of this record does. But his vocals on Zombies in particular is one that stands out to me as just being a little bit excessive, but done in the right way, if that makes sense. It's extra flair and dramatic because he's talking about these people that just leech off of success and want to be around people and bring them down because maybe they're in the media a lot or maybe they're talked about a lot. And I love that. The zombies all around us. And I like the way that he kind of uses these parallels here to dive into deeper subjects. Obviously, Boogieman was one that did that, and right after that, Zombies. A big thing to keep in mind whenever you're listening to Awaken My Love, it's to pay attention to the instrumentals here, along with the lyrics. Not saying that the lyrics don't always carry it, but the instrumentals just get so interesting as these songs develop. I mean, just look at Redbone, for example. Now, Redbone is a term apparently used for a light-skinned African-American woman, which is something that I didn't know before. Looking into this was pretty interesting. I love this track. Just a very smooth jam, and as it goes on, definitely look at this, the transformation you see in the instrumental. Absolute genius. I love the way they work in the guitars and some other bass work, and then the synthesizers as well, just kind of glitchy, dripping in here and there. Just a smooth, sexy jam. And right in correlation with that, I have to talk about and praise The Night Me and Your Mama Met, because holy shit, the guitar from Gary Clark Jr. on that one is just out of this world good. The finishing touches. This is an instrumental track that seems to be talking about the night that Gambino and his baby mama met, and they're obviously having a son together. They've already had the son at this point, and he just got out of explaining to him on the track Baby Boy right before that, another one of my favorites that really saw Gambino unleashing a different side of himself vocally. I love the way that we kind of get a little bit of a spoken word verse from him there at the end, really seeing the real Donald Glover, the real Childish Gambino, once again, that familiar voice. But right after that, on The Night Me and Your Mama Met, one of the best moments for me. A big build-up and a big payoff. Just a smooth instrumental, very sexy, lush, R&B leaning. Earlier in this review, I talked about Zombies and how it kind of brings forth the image of racism in America and how tough things are getting, especially for someone of color. And earlier in the album, on track number 2, I like that he kind of contrasts that with Have Some Love, basically saying that even though things might be really tough for us right now, let's band together, have each other's back. And it comes forth in almost a gospel swing-styled movement and really gets its point across of showing love to your fellow brother. It's got this really just move your head, move your entire body. The more and more this song goes on, the more you get drawn to it type feel, and I love that about it. There's some fun moments on this album, and that's one of them right there, ladies and gentlemen. California is another one of those. It seems to poke fun at some people in the scene, some current rappers these days, and Gambino seems to be once again over-exaggerating his style here for the sake of making like a reggae-leaning tune on California, and it's enjoyable. Honestly, I did not like it at first because I was like, God, he's going so over the top with this. I can't stand it. But the more I played it, the more I kept coming back to it, and I was like, this thing's actually a ton of fun. It's a blast. And overall, on this entire project, if you're just kind of not a fan of multiple personalities, it almost seems like he's got kind of a split personality here because he's playing so many different vocal styles here. He's catering to different audiences, different movements, and that sort of thing. Just look from the difference from California to Boogieman to Me and Your Mama to Stand Tall, the closing song here. And I did want to talk about that one, not because it's one of my least favorites, like Riot, a short song that I just don't really care for much at all. I'm glad that one is shorter. Doesn't have that much to it. On the opposite side of the fence, we have another favorite of mine, Stand Tall, which closes out this album in fantastic fashion. This one alongside Baby Boy are two of my absolute favorites just because of how down-to-earth and genuine they feel. Not that the others aren't, but there are a lot of manipulations, vocal effects that are going to drive some crazy. I, for one, actually find them pretty entertaining, but on these two, I feel like we're actually getting Glover's real singing voice here, and he's singing to his newborn son, obviously on Baby Boy, over this slow, shimmering guitar that really just stands out with these muted chords as it moves on. Not a ton of progression, but it doesn't really need it. And then on one of my final favorites right here, and actually the final track on the LP, we have Standing Tall. This is a moment that I really feel like stands out from the pack just because of its lush instrumental, the beat change in the middle of the song, just the tempo change, and how it carries it out on this kind of weird gospel-styled outro. And obviously we have the backing vocals throughout this entire song. I thought that Brenton Jones and the Best Live Singers, the choir that he brought in for some of the tracks, killed it on this record. I think they did a fantastic job of kind of aiding Glover in the style that he was going for. And really with this entire album, I feel like he pulled off the vibe that he wanted, kind of this psychedelic funk and R&B flavor with a little bit of rock sprinkled in there as well, plenty of guitars, synthesizers. It just had a weird feel, but it was all encompassing. He hit all the points he wanted to and did it all without rapping and all without features. So did Gambino pull it off? I say so. I think this is a really, really good album. Me personally, I see myself coming back to this more in the future. I don't necessarily know how I felt about it at first. I was a little bit confused, and I feel like it's going to confuse a lot of people, especially if you're into like the rapping Gambino. Obviously, I would love for that to return because he's one of my favorite rappers in that sense, but Donald Glover, whatever he does, I'm definitely going to be checking out because he has a very, very creative mind. Me personally, I think it's got a pretty moderate replay factor, and I'm going to go with a light 4 out of 5. The new Childish Gambino project, Awaken, my love. Thanks for watching the Gambino review. Don't forget to smash the like button while you're here. Subscribe to the channel because friends don't let friends go unsubscribed. You can check out my last Gambino review right here, or a recent review that I think you'll like that I did on the channel right here. My social media that you can see here is all linked in the description, and other than that, I'll see you guys very soon on ARTV.